Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel, and is English football overrated? Because the quarterfinals of all European competitions are well and truly over now, and only one English team has actually progressed to the semi-finals. So is English football and all their superstars overrated? And very quickly, before we get into that, a massive thank you for hitting 375 subscribers. That's monumental. If we could get to 400 subs as soon as possible, that would just be great. If you could share the video around and subscribe, it's free, it helps out. But let's get back into it. The English Premier League, what they've done is they have called themselves the best league in the world. Now, that is akin to a lot of pundits who say the similar thing. You think of the likes of Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, they all call the league the best in the world. But is that actually true? Because it is the richest league in the world, and that's not a debate at all, because ever since Sky took over the rights for the Premier League all the way back in 1992, the finances have grown and grown and grown, and you're seeing teams like Bournemouth, who have just been getting promoted, they're outbidding clubs like AC Milan on players. And it's because they've got more money, because they've got a fantastic TV deal with Sky. And a lot of games are getting shown on there. Same with BT, now TNT Sports. They've got a deal in there. And it's going to be interesting when Sky's deal is up in a couple of years, what actually happens with these rights, with the likes of Amazon coming into play. They want a chunk of it. They want to be streaming. And who else is going to get involved there? Then, when you look at Premier League spending over the last couple of years, I mean, Chelsea last January spent more on players than La Liga, Serie A, the Bundesliga and Ligue 1 all combined. And that was just in January, and that was just one club in there, in Chelsea, who, I mean, they've been buying a lot of young talent. There's a lot of financial fair play implications about what's allowed, what's not allowed. We're going to wait and see what's happening there, and that is a whole other video that I will probably get into. But they have unbelievable spending powers. Newcastle have become the richest club in the world, but they've had to dial back their spending because of financial fair play. Man City, we know about their spending powers, how they will go spend £50 million on a player. Liverpool spend a lot of money, even though a lot of Liverpool fans want you to think that that is not true. Man United are constantly doing it. Every single club has just got millions upon billions to spend. Liverpool's annual wage bill is 159 million, and compare that to Atalanta, who, yes, they did beat 1-0 last night, but they are out because they lost 3-1 on aggregate to Atalanta, and Atalanta's wage bill is about 45 million per year. So it's well over double, triple that amount, and they've just gone and knocked them out. Now, in my eyes, for the best league in the world, it's got to have two things. One is the best players in the world, and the Premier League has a lot of superstars. You do think of the likes of Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, they are two of the best players in their positions. Rodri, a lot of them are at Manchester City, but you look at the other teams. A lot of people saying Bukayo Saka, one of the best right wingers in the world. He's good, he's not wonderful, and he's still got a lot of time to become one of the best players in the world, but at this moment in time, he's not a big game player. Same with Martinelli. I mean, you've got Odegaard, who's a wonderful player in there. Declan Rice is a fabulous player. And this is not just an attack on Arsenal, but it's just because Arsenal have been doing ever so well. Liverpool, they seem to have the best goalkeeper in the world. Salah, the other best right winger in the world. Van Dijk. So why have they only won one Premier League in that time? Why have they only won one Champions League in that time under Jurgen Klopp in the past 8 years, if they do have all these best players in the world? And a lot of clubs in England especially will tag their players, their young players, as the best in the world, or top 5, top 10. It's not possible. And what this isn't is it's not an attack on even English football fans or the teams themselves. It's just the fact that English football has become so overrated, in a sense that, yeah, there is a lot of delusion, because the way that you should be measuring success is, what do you do in the European competitions? Because, yeah, winning your league is great. You look at the likes of Celtic and Rangers in the Scottish Premier League. Celtic have won I mean, about 50 of the last 51 Premier Leagues there, but their continental success is abysmal, and Rangers have actually outperformed them in European competitions, getting to the final of the Europa League. And it's just, to me, you can win a lot of Premier Leagues like Manchester City, and Manchester City have been ever so dominant, and they've been on that steady progression up the way. They've been getting quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then eventually they won the Champions League last year. But before then, it wasn't great. And English teams in Europe, they're really not that great. Now, last year, 2 out of the 3 competitions they won. Manchester City won the Champions League and West Ham won the Europa Conference League. But if we look at the Champions League, Real Madrid are the all-time holders and they've won 14 of them. The English ones, I mean, it's Liverpool, they've won 6. But Barcelona, they're up there as well. And Spain have just won more and more competitions than any English side in European competitions, that is. Now, out of the last 10 Champions Leagues, Spanish teams, they've won 6 of them, and they even won 5 in a row from 2013 all the way until 2018. Now, England did do very well over the past 5 years. If you look at the past 5 years, Real Madrid have won 1, Bayern Munich have won 1, but the other 3 teams have been English, and that is probably where this English overratedness has come from. The fact that, yes, 3 out of the last 5 winners, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City, they're all English and they're all different, but history tells us it's just a small blip in Spain's overall dominance within this European competition. Then go over to the Europa League, because that is also dominated by Spain, and when I say dominated, it's even more dominated than the Champions League. I mean, it's absurd the amount of titles they've won there. Sevilla are the record holders with 7, and they even won the Europa League last year as well. Then, out of the last 20 Europa League finals, 12 of them have been won by Spanish teams. Then, the 14 previous finals have been won by 9 Spanish teams. 9 out of the last 14, Spanish dominance within these 2 competitions right there. And it's not even up for debate there, because Spain do so well, and they've also got the biggest club in the world in Real Madrid and one of the other biggest clubs in the world in Barcelona. Now, yes, England have big clubs. Manchester United's one of the biggest clubs in the world, as is Liverpool, but the rest of them, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Tottenham, none of them are massive clubs when you compare them to the 2 Milan clubs, Juventus, you compare them to Bayern Munich, Rangers, Celtic, and I know what you're going to say, well, these English teams are better than Rangers and Celtic, and yes, they are better right now than Rangers and Celtic, but historically and around the world, Rangers and Celtic, they're much more well known than these clubs. The best players in the world as well, they're always linked with Real Madrid or Barcelona. It's just a fact, that's what always happens. Cristiano Ronaldo left Manchester United after they won the Champions League, then got to the final in 2008. They had Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez. I mean, they had a brilliant team. Nemanja Vidic, probably the second best team in the entire world behind Barcelona at that time. And he still goes to Real Madrid because Real Madrid are a bigger team, and he saw another project there. He wanted to go win La Decima over there. And Gareth Bale, he outgrows Tottenham. What does he do? Does he go to Manchester United? Does he go to Chelsea? Nope, he goes over to Real Madrid. All the big players, Jude Bellingham currently has gone over to Real Madrid. Erling Haaland, yes, he's at Manchester City, but he is constantly linked with a move to Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappe, for the past 25 years, seems to have been linked with Real Madrid. It is absurd. He is going to go to Real Madrid after his time at PSG is done because there is no other team for him. That's where all the big superstars want to go. They want to play in Spain, and they want to play for Real Madrid. They want to win the Champions League with Real Madrid. The league doesn't seem to matter And if you think I am still being incredibly harsh on the English teams, if we look at the European results this year, I mean, Manchester United and Newcastle both finished bottom of their Champions League groups. You've then got Arsenal and Man City, who, yes, albeit very tough ties in Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, but they are out in the quarter-final stage. Let's look at the Europa League. And Liverpool and West Ham went crashing out. I mean, West Ham against Bayer Leverkusen, that's a tough game. And Bayer Leverkusen not lost a game all season, one of the most incredible achievements. But they're out. Liverpool to Atalanta, they should be getting past them. They're out. Brighton, tough game against Roma, but they're out in the round of 16. Then Aston Villa, they nearly went out to Lille, and they were very fortunate in the fact that they've got the best goalkeeper in the world at penalty shootouts in Emi Martinez, and they squeezed through to get to the semi-finals. And I mean, yes, any team can win on penalties. I mean, Arsenal beat Porto on penalties, Man City went out on penalties. It's a gamble, but these are all facts that there's no English team in the semi-final of the major two competitions. And since 2008, there's been the 2010 season, 13, 15, 17, 20, and now the 24. That is 6 seasons where we've not seen an English team in the Champions League semi-final since 2008. Compare that with the Spanish lot, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid especially in that regard, but Villarreal as well, and Valencia. They've only missed the semi-finals once. I mean, there's not been a Spanish team in a semi-final one time since 2008 onwards, and that was 2020, which I think is a weird COVID year. So, I mean, yes, it obviously still counts, but it's a lot more. You can see why that one. I know the English teams didn't get there either. It was a weird year that year. To conclude, the Premier League, the richest league in the world. Not up for a debate. I mean, they get the players on the biggest wages, they can attract a lot of big stars, but the biggest and brightest stars, they'll want to go to Spain. And the biggest winners in football are Real Madrid, Sevilla, Barcelona, they're the Spanish teams. So, can the Premier League really call itself the best league in the world? Might be the most entertaining, but it is not the best. Thank you very much for watching the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the Premier League is overrated? Do you think it is the best league in the world? Please tell me why below. I love reading the comments. If you could like, share the video around and subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers.